Welcome to this tutorial on how to use Azure Synapse Sdk, a powerful tool for data integration and analytics. In this guide, we will walk you through the process of getting started with Azure Synapse Sdk, from setting up your environment to running your first data pipeline. First, let's start with the basics. Azure Synapse Sdk is a software development kit that allows you to create, manage, and deploy data pipelines in Azure Synapse Analytics. It provides a simple and intuitive way to integrate data from various sources, transform and process the data, and load it into a target system. To get started, you need to install the Azure Synapse Sdk. You can do this by installing the Azure Synapse Sdk package from the Azure repository. Once installed, you can import the SDK into your preferred programming language, such as Python or C#. Next, you need to authenticate with Azure Synapse Analytics. This can be done by creating a service principal and granting it the necessary permissions to access your Azure Synapse workspace. You can then use the service principal to authenticate with the Azure Synapse SDK. Now that you are authenticated, you can start creating your data pipeline. A data pipeline is a series of activities that extract data from a source, transform and process the data, and load it into a target system. You can create a data pipeline using the Azure Synapse SDK by defining the source, transformation, and target activities. For example, you can create a data pipeline that extracts data from Azure Blob Storage, transforms the data using an Azure function, and loads the data into a Azure Synapse Analytics table. You can also add additional activities, such as data validation and error handling, to make your data pipeline more robust. Once you have created your data pipeline, you can deploy it to Azure Synapse Analytics. This can be done by creating a new pipeline in Azure Synapse Analytics and uploading your pipeline configuration file. You can then trigger your pipeline to run manually or schedule it to run automatically. Best practices for using Azure Synapse SDK include testing and validating your data pipeline, monitoring your pipeline for errors and performance issues, and optimizing your pipeline for performance and cost. You should also follow security best practices, such as encrypting your data and using secure authentication mechanisms. In conclusion, Azure Synapse SDK is a powerful tool for data integration and analytics that allows you to create, manage, and deploy data pipelines in Azure Synapse Analytics. By following the steps outlined in this guide, you can get started with Azure Synapse SDK and start building your own data pipelines. Remember to follow best practices, such as testing and validating your pipeline, and optimizing it for performance and cost with Azure Synapse SDK. You can unlock the full potential of your data and gain valuable insights into your business.